Trump hates losers more than anything else. Ally, enemy, doesn't matter. He can't stand losers, okay? He's like, you're a loser. I'm cutting you off. You're done. You're done. Bye-bye. Now imagine if he did a you're a loser, bye-bye to Elon Musk. Oh, my God. That battle would be epic. That would be incredible.
Afternoon, talking to voters about this ruling and Musk's involvement. What are they saying?
Well, Ryan, with less than 3 days until election night, many voters are wondering if Musk's involvement will be a positive or a negative in this race for state Supreme Court. So I spent the day talking to voters at a Schimmel event like Jarrell and Chuck, as well as voters downtown like Meredith, who shared their thoughts.
3 days, 2 candidates, and $1 million. That's the latest number voters are wrapping their heads around in the race for state Supreme Court. Billionaire Elon Musk, who endorsed Judge Brad Schimmel, offering $100 to people for signing a petition against, quote, activist judges, and now $1 million to 2 people speaking at a rally Sunday night in Green Bay.
My wife and I both filled it out, including my son, my sister, and brother-in-law, and it's awesome.
Chuck Kornowski signed the petition.
We did also. Did you get the check yet?
And is waiting for his $100 check in the mail.
Gets people motivated. It really does. It is a good idea. Yeah. I really feel it is.
Not everyone thought the same. Attorney General Josh Kaul tried to block the payments, first filing a lawsuit, then appealing to the Wisconsin Court of Appeals. On Saturday, court officials denied his emergency request, which allows Musk to continue offering the payments.
Get into the minds of the younger people and speak to them and get them to come out, come to the rallies, sign petitions, and become greater Americans, I guess you could say, then yeah, I'm definitely on board with that.
People like Meredith worry Musk's money might sway the vote.
Getting people out there to vote is important, certainly, but I don't know how I feel about billionaires, bribing people to sign petitions and, paying their way into an election.
Whether you sign the petition or not, voters tell me this election is bigger than just a Supreme Court seat.
This race with Brad Schimmel will save the entire country.
This is a very high-stakes election, not just for Wisconsin, but I think for the country as a whole.
And according to WisPolitics, a record $90 million has been spent on this race. And Musk, again, holding an event here in Wisconsin tomorrow night. Entrance is limited to those who have signed that petition, and we'll have team coverage there as election night approaches on Tuesday. Ryan.
All right, Kaylee, thank you.
As you may have seen with stuff that
what? Oh yeah, remember? Oh my God. Technically, it was 90% cheers and 10% booze, except during quiet periods. But still, that's a lot of booze, which is a first for me in real life, frequent on Twitter. It's almost as if I've offended. Nereye gidiyorsun baba? Baba, nereye? Ha, peki yapacağım mı yemek sonra? Evet, hayır 3'te, okey peki tamam. Yo boş ver, tamam önemli değil, sen yapacaksın. Tamam. Biliyorum, alırım içeri, boş ver sen. It's almost as if I've offended SF's Unhinged Leftists, but nah, yeah, dude, Unhinged Leftists is the Dave Chappelle show. Like, they came in to see Dave Chappelle, big dog. It's crazy.
I mean, it was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. Give my regards to George. Say hi to George from me. USA, 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 USA. Yep. I mean, it was inevitable. I was waiting for that one. So, I mean, yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, isn't it shocking how much violence and hatred is coming from the left?
Oh, isn't it shocking? Meanwhile, I want to kill everybody. Meanwhile, my administration that I'm working for is deporting random people who are working with children with autism. That's not violent, of course. It's all leftist violence. Isn't it shocking, the leftist violence? When someone put the gum on the Tesla, that's the real violence. Not the mass deportation. Oh, isn't it shocking? The left is violent. I hate him. I hate him so much. Oh my God. There's nothing funnier than a crowd of people also chanting about Teslas getting dicks drawn on them or getting keyed. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, you're right. Meanwhile, they're the ones who would be like, you're gay as if you own an electric vehicle. Not your best accent, King, but the energy is there. No, with Elon Musk, he's one of the dudes who just like pisses me off so much that I can't even get it together to do a good accent. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, he is so uniquely frustrating and such a... Ne? Niye? Dışarıdaki kapıyı diyorsun. Pili bitmişti. Boş ver, tamam, önemli değil. Yok, bir şey olmaz. SNL would hire you to play him? Yeah, the hatred gets in the way of me doing a good accent.
I mean, isn't it supposed to be the party they claim to be the party of empathy?
Yeah, oh my God. Q. Oh my God.
And yet they're burning Teslas and shooting up dealerships and calling for the death of the president and me. I'm like, guys, this is insane. Like, they're...
You know what it is? It's just how uncharismatic he is that pisses me off, because I think of like all of the dumb that go, no, he's great. He's so cool. He's so charismatic. Like, that's what pisses me off about it. Because like, at least with Trump, he's telegenic. You know, he's zesty. He's funny. He's got like a penchant for drama. He has an appreciation of the arts. Whereas with Elon, there's nothing there. He is a perfect demonstration that as long as you say the words, these dumb on the right will go, hell yeah, Mr. President, we love you. Do you understand what is so frustrating about it? He's not even trying hard enough. He's not even trying to be good or cool or likable. It is the most transparent version of just what you see is what you get. All you got to do is say the right things. That to me is terrifying about the future prospects of this country. If you can get a group of people to believe this man is charismatic and has their best interests, you can get them to believe anything. A group of people that sit around and go, this guy's awesome, this guy's brilliant, this guy is heaven sent, they will believe everything. They will believe anything you put in front of them. It's just total slop-consuming morons. Do you understand? I think it skipped the video because of refresh.
Yeah, I mean,
No, isn't it shocking how much violence? Oh, Elon Musk son on his controversial decisions. Wait, what? Oh.
Hey, nice shirt.
Oh, thank you. First of all, Path of Exile for life. But more important...
That's an Asmongold fan. 100p. First of all, Path of Exile for life. Okay.
As we see, the whole world has turned to a fear-based mobilization effort. And we've seen that translate into violence. And the right's not immune to it because it can hit anybody's psychology.
Sure.
How do we beat that with optimism? Because that's going to be crucial to avoid mass eruption of conflict.
Yeah, I mean, there does seem to be... you're right that the right is not immune from sort of hate and violence. It's not like nothing, but it does seem weirdly heavily weighted towards the left. I mean, like, I haven't seen anyone tearing off like a Biden-Harris hat. Like, we're just like, you feel a bit sorry for them, like, oh, maybe they're wrong there, you know. But you see people tearing off MAGA hats. And someone just, you know, I saw a video just today where somebody was just on an escalator, a woman was on an escalator wearing a MAGA hat, and someone going the other direction tore the hat off her head. And I'm like, what? That's rude, you know. In fact, I sort of find myself in a strange position because I didn't think of myself as right. I thought myself.
Is he talking about that fake ass video? That was the fakest video of all time that I saw on my Twitter timeline this morning. Of the lady going down an escalator with a Trump hat, and then the other lady being like, "Yo, bitch, I hate you and what Trump stands for. Someone sent me the video. It's so awesome. It's so amazing. Where is someone please send me the video? Yes. Yes. Democrats are completely unhinged, says real James Woods. This is, bro, this is literally like, this is like a child, okay? When you're a child and you like draw something and then you're afraid of your own drawing. Like you invented a reality and that invention in your own mind scared you shitless, okay? Amazing.
Democrats are completely unhinged.
Woman! You're a woman! What the hell is disgusting?
Democrats are
Just the fakest shit. Just the fakest shit of all time, dude. Oh, it's so
Yeah, it's super
awesome.
fake.
It's so funny, dude. People are so stupid. Oh my God. Republicans are so dumb. If you believe this, you should not be able to drive. If you watch this clip and you go, this is exactly what's happening. This is exactly what the Democrats are doing all the time. You should unironically not be able to vote or drive, okay? Like, I love randomly filming escalators.
Democrats are completely unhinged.
And punching in and perfectly staying on camera. I love being able to frame a totally random. I love being able to frame a totally random meet cute in the middle of the day perfectly in frame.
Democrats are
Oh. Bro, how do you know it's fake? Come on, man.
A real Democrat wouldn't have given it back.
Yeah. I love bringing my gimbal. Okay,
Real Democrat would have grabbed that shit and ran.
strapped to the camera and just randomly filming escalators on the pure random happenstance where a super turbo liberal is going up the escalator and a patriotic American lover is going down the escalator at the same exact moment. And then I go, oh, opportunity arised. Let me zoom in
completely
as the action is taking place.
Woman! You're a woman! What the hell is disgusting?
Yeah, it's so wonderful that the Republican MAGA patriot conservative was also leaning on this side of the escalator so that the turbo libtard could actually pull it off without falling.
Democrats are completely unhinged.
Tizzy Ant confirmation. These videos are posted to the account of the older woman Democrat. She posts a ton of stage skits like this. She keeps doing the MAGA assault videos though because you dumb fucks keep falling for it. You're clearly not on escalator talk. Yeah. Yeah, you see, the left is so violent. It happens on every escalator. No need to stage. Dude, Americans have become so stupid across the board that like believing this is the equivalent of believing a Darman video. Okay? It's like watching a Darman video and going, "Oh my God, I learned such valuable lessons actually." It's like thinking movies are real. What the fuck is going on? I feel like they're trying to make the left look mentally unwell to justify deportation. Brother, this is not a deliberate, sophisticated effort to manufacture consent. Because it's not sophisticated at all. It's very obviously a sketch. Hello? This is literally like thinking Marvel movies are in real life, like it's historical fiction or something. And it's not even, oh my God, it's not even as entertaining or as intelligent as like a Hollywood production either. It's just like very blunt. It's working though? Yes, because Americans have gotten dumber and dumber at an alarming rate. So yes. That video and believing that video is the equivalent of thinking Johnny Sins is an astronaut and a doctor and a carpenter and a plumber at the same goddamn time. You are so stupid. I don't know how to deal with you. I don't know how to talk to you. We are not living on the same planet. What is going on?
as a centrist. But then the left went all the other direction, and now everyone's a Nazi, you know, before you know it. And I'm like, wait a second, do you know what that means? Obviously not. So,
dude, it should be, okay. It should be illegal to make this dude do a tight five, I think. I think no free speech. No free speech allowed, actually. I want to say all of these dumb, unwashed hogs deserve this loser because they think personally that he's brilliant. He sneaked you in, by the way. Unc, what? What do you mean? No, he didn't do that.
But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I believe in peaceful discourse and that, you know, we make arguments,
why are they still trying to maintain this position that they're like beholden to logic and reasoning? Like that's like old hat shit. That's Ben Shapiro shit.
Arguments and the people decide which way they want to go. But we don't engage in sort of shouting people down or violence or burning things or shooting things.
It's so, dude. Virtually every single instance of domestic terror since 9/11 has been done by the far right, okay? Almost all of it. Like with very, very few exceptions, the overwhelming majority of mass shootings, the overwhelming majority of school shootings, the overwhelming majority, damn near the entirety of failed presidential assassinations in this election cycle were either former Trump supporters or registered Republicans. What are we talking about? Even Ryan Ruth was a former MAGA guy. It is not an accident that the entire right-wing project is predicated on unlimited violence to their enemies. So of course, yes, the right wing is infinitely more violent. I like that the maximum violence that has taken place, that is now being branded as terrorism, is drawing a dick on a Tesla or literally putting a gum on a Tesla, okay? Sticking a gum on a Tesla. Someone is charged for that right now. It's crazy. What happened to Ryan? He's gone, dude. He's gone. He's lost. He's gone but not forgotten. Yeah, a Florida woman slapped with felony charge for vandalizing Tesla with large wad of chewing gum. Report. A Florida woman was charged with a felony after allegedly smacking a large wad of chewing gum onto a Tesla, causing nearly $3,000 worth of damage, according to the Sunshine State authorities. Yamiris Marrero was initially charged with a felony criminal mischief for the sticky antics, which were captured on the car's built-in cameras. The act of vandalism reportedly caused a bubble-sized $2,623 in damage in the mechanism of the electric car's door handle. Oh my God, a wad of bubble gum causes the car to not... Oh my God, these cars are such dog shit. The owner of the vehicle told Local News 10 that he felt he was being gummished due to, unfortunately, a divide in our country where certain views are not accepted by a subset, referencing Tesla founder Elon Musk's controversial role in the Trump administration. Cops cuffed Marrero after a mall security guard spotted her in the food court on Thursday, according to a police report obtained by the outlet. Marrero was reportedly stuck in police custody on $2,005 bond as of Friday. What is this video? Alien-like sea creatures keep washing up on the beaches? What the is New York Post, man? New York Post is not real news.
That's how democracy is supposed to work. It's peaceful discourse. Welcome to hang out and see maybe some questions people let's see. We'll go.
Hi, Elon. I also am a teacher. I was a teacher in Colorado for 8 years, high school Spanish. But I moved here last year and got to vote in Wisconsin, where my vote actually mattered, and I'm so glad. That was amazing that we got Trump elected.
Yeah.
And I was listening to, I believe it was Patrick Bet David. He called this perfectly, where he said, when Trump gets elected, he's going to go from enemy number one to Elon's going to be number one. And
this guy was a teacher with a valuetainment podcast. He's a valuetainment enjoyer, myself included, obviously. I am the number one valuetainment defender. But this was a teacher? Bro, he can't even speak. What is happening?
For the reason, I mean, he only has a couple years left. And we've all seen the left go after you and make you number one enemy. And just walking in here, we heard Nazis suck. There's all this horrible thing. And just on a serious note, I just want to let you know, my wife and I pray for you at night.
My lordship, the other peasantry is not. My lordship, the other peasantry do not respect that you are divine, that you are heaven sent. All you want to do is what's best for us, my lord. When the fortress gates closed last time, as the enemies pillaged our land, I knew you would have had the opportunity to bring me into your fortress, but didn't do so because you wanted to protect something more important, my lord. The love I have for you, my lordship, kind sir, is undeniable. Sire, I do my very best and I pray for you every night. My wife for you, my lord, prima nocta, your grace, your divine presence, with your mangled penis inside of my wife will only give us but a fraction of the divine. The left has his own form of praying gooning? Yes. Please take my wife, me lordship.
Thank you for your safety.
More of that consent manufacturing against the left right here, dog. I don't know how you always seem to misunderstand me when you respond to my chats and think I'm some dumb hog. No, man, this isn't like a deliberate attempt. Manufacturing consent is a carefully crafted narrative that is motivated by the invisible motivations of people trying to elevate themselves. This, on the other hand, is a dumb hog. I'm not saying you're a dumb hog. I'm saying this guy's a dumb hog. He's not. This is what he truly believes as a direct consequence of consent that was manufactured prior.
And guys, I gotta watch my hand gestures these days, you know. Yeah. But I think this one's safe, you know. You know, it's like can't wave to the crowd. You know,
the woke left wants to take away everything. Ha! The woke left has stopped me from sig howling. What the? You can't have a sig howl anymore because the woke left. They say you're a Nazi for doing that.
Let's return to the U.S. now.
I also don't like Elon's dad at all, and I think he's a grimy opportunist and is almost entirely responsible for the monster that Elon Musk has become. So I don't like all of these like oppositional pieces that place him in the crosshairs, to put him on like a pedestal almost. Like he's just a also evil dude. He also looks evil too, but that's besides the point. Yeah, he is gross. Yeah, Elon's dad married his stepdaughter. Like it's just not a good guy. I don't care. I'm not even going to listen to what he has to say about Elon.
Goes to work. It's peaceful discourse.
My question is about USAID. Has the Doge team found any evidence that any of the radical left Democrats like Maxine Waters, Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer have received money directly from USAID? And if so, will we be hearing about that evidence anytime soon?
Yeah. So
yeah, let's watch him Let's watch him answer this with a real answer and not a totally made up nonsensical position. Because every single thing that Doge has come out with, stating that they're doing, saving America, I don't know, cutting funds so that there's no more transgender Sesame Seed in Iraq or Sesame Street in Iraq or whatever the they claim they're doing, has been just a lie. It's either completely embellished or they're just lying. They either move numbers around to make it seem like they're cutting shit, or they just lie. So there's no reason. Sesame Seed. I said Sesame Street. Shut up. I corrected myself. Okay. Minor mistake. I recognize he said something wrong. Streamer said the wrong thing. Lamau. Lamau, lamau, lamau.
There is a massive amount of corruption, but it is circuitous. So what happens is there's money that, obviously it's your taxpayer money, that is then sent to various government organizations who then send it to NGOs, which an NGO is a non-governmental organization, but obviously if it's a government-funded non-governmental organization, it's just an organization, it's just a government. And effectively, there's a giant fraud loophole, which is that the government can send money to an NGO that is then no longer governed by the laws of the United States. So they'll send the money overseas to one NGO, then they'll go through a bunch of them, and then I'm highly confident that a bunch of that money then comes back to the United States and lands in the pockets of the people you just mentioned. But it is a circuitous route. It's not like it doesn't go directly, but let's just say that there's a lot of strangely wealthy members of Congress where I just can't, I'm trying to connect the dots of how did they become rich while earning, how they get 20 million if they're earning 200,000 a year? It sounds, that's not, nobody can explain that. So something's, yeah, we're going to try to figure it out and certainly stop it from happening.
Yeah, I think, I think it's right in their face. This is the same level of mania that I saw at Trump rallies where they would like claim that Trump was like super sexy and super hot, where it's like such an obvious thing that is not the reality that you can, it's so outside of the bounds of observable reality that you've completely lost the plot. I would always point to that to say like, this is the final stage of mania. When you look at a guy like Donald Trump, who's just disgusting, okay? And you go, he's so sexy. If you think he's sexy, you're lost, okay? There's no way that we can save you. And the same goes for the wealthiest person on the planet paying people to go to a room, paying people to try and change the outcome of an election directly, overtly paying people, okay, to try and change the outcome of a state Supreme Court election, talking about like wealthy elites that are dominating politics. Like, if you can't realize that you are the rube right now that's being paid to do this, as a rube, you don't recognize the irony of the guy saying that, you're lost. It's weirdly enough not dissimilar to the stan culture shit, where there is entire populations of content creators whose fans just have decided I am the greatest evil person of all time for things that I have not done, but only because like that is what their content creator demands. That kind of hatred is what their content creator demands. And it's just like, they might even agree with me on a number of different issues, if not the entirety of my perspective, but charitability is gone. So they just can't see it at all. They cannot see the world outside of this lens where like, no, he is super evil guy. I agree. I feel like Elon merges stan culture with political mobilization in that regard. And it's crazy because like, how the do you stand this guy? I don't even understand. Like, there is nothing there to stand. It's just pure wealth worship. That's all it is. He is the manifestation of of endless amounts of wealth inequality personified. You can even show people the longer clip and they just loop back on themselves and say the same shit when talking to people on Twitter. We're just getting dumber. Yeah.
I mean, just in general, there's
yeah, I mean, it is kind of like the emperor's wearing no suit, but instead of people going, the emperor's wearing no clothes, they're going, no, it's all right, he's naked, my lord. I'm naked too. I've taken my clothes off in solidarity. It is the new way of going. If the emperor's got no clothes, I don't have clothes. It is good to run around naked. Your clothes are magnificent, my lord. It is the woke leftist peasants that deny the reality.
It's been about half a year since I covered old Beastie Boy, and what brought me out of my retirement from the I Hate Mr. Beast Club was actually this thumbnail where I'm labeled as evil for criticizing Mr. Beast. Now, I look pretty happy with myself being evil. I think they should have changed the label to Muad'Dib because I predicted his downfall and I was the first YouTuber to call him out. But anyway, this video isn't really a new video. It's like an AI edit of a previous video that was talking about me criticizing Mr. Beast like way before he was supposedly cancelled. And I wanted to just talk about him today because he's had numerous tweets that have put him back in the conversation, going viral. And he's talking more about new charity ventures he's doing. And I want this video to kind of serve as, like, let's just think about previous good rich people. Let's think about people who had good reputations, who wanted to help people, who wanted to use the mechanisms of capitalism to improve the world. One of them happens to be a fascist shadow president of the United States, and that is Elon Musk, a guy who was asking about solving world hunger, a guy who wanted to save Thai kids trapped in a cave, a guy who wanted to send us to Mars and make the world a better place through his electric vehicles. Turns out he was all doing this because of his deep insecurity and his desire to be liked by absolutely everyone. To a lot of the early haters of Elon Musk, it was always clear he was a terrible guy because even when he had a good reputation and he was seen as like a liberal person, he treated his workers like fucking garbage. And who does that also remind you of? Mr. Beast, either that be the Beast Games, either that be actually his YouTube company. He's always been a terrible boss. So even when people like Beastie Boy do good things, you have to think about what is that in service to? Is it in service to the greater good, motivated by a genuine set of core principles that push him in the direction of helping the world? Or is he doing this all for clout, fame and money, and ultimately stuff like he wants to be president? But he probably does have one eye on a political career. And as you're going to see, he's upped his efforts in sub-Saharan Africa for his charity work, which I find really curious now that the US is going full fascist and cutting like all social safety nets. So there isn't a time in modern American history where you'd reckon that people doing charity work should actually focus on America itself. But I guess if you want to stay apolitical, you just go help like poor black children in an African country most Americans couldn't point to on a map, so you can like sanitize your image. So I want to talk about all of this today. Also follow me on BlueSky, follow me on Instagram, and if you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon page and check out YouTube memberships. Recently, old Jimmy Beast went on the Diary of a CEO podcast hosted by Stephen Bartlett. Not going to play you it, but I'll read you some of the quotes. So, Fortune reporting, he's the world's top YouTuber with an $85 million empire, but says the average person would be miserable living his life. So, let's get to this. The average person does not want to live the life I live or be in my head. They would be miserable because they're just working all the time. Obviously, I'm not a robot. There are times when I'm like, fuck, I really want to play this strategy board game, or I want to do this thing, and then I look at the schedule and think, maybe I could do that in 4 days. It's very easy to go into moments like that, feeling like a zoo animal. I don't have free will. I'm like a little robot to my business, so you have to be very careful. Sometimes those emotions take over. You got to control your thoughts and think, well, this is the life I chose. You want success. You want to change the world. This is the price you have to pay. You should actually see this as a good thing. You're lucky it's hard. Push through it, and you'll be happy you did. Donaldson says if the average person was in his shoes, they'd just grab a couple million and be happy. And he says in 2025, he's been more unhappy than happy. So what you'd have to ask someone like old Jimmy Beast is, if it's making you so miserable, what are you doing? And it's the annoying things about the delusions of grandeur he has. He thinks he's changing the world. He thinks he's going to change the world. He thinks one good billionaire, he's on the way to becoming a billionaire, is what we need to solve a world that is descending into oligarchy and environmental disaster. This guy seems to live in a time capsule from the 1990s where people actually still thought like this and people actually still wanted people like this. No one wants you to be the savior. No one wants you to help out the world in the way you see. If Mr. Beast actually wanted to help the world, he could be far more effective by starting at home. Like I was thinking recently, Robert F. Kennedy is like one of the most dangerous men in the world right now in terms of potentially allowing another pandemic to happen. There's so much he could do, Mr. Beast, in terms of like lobbying, campaigning, making YouTube videos about the health crisis in America. Because he often says like, oh, you know, I gave amputees new legs. A YouTuber shouldn't have to do this. But when you are completely divorced from a coherent political ideology, the only solution he can think of is I'm going to pay for X amount of people to have this and put it in a video, and that like raises awareness to the issue. It doesn't. We all know it's a massive problem. Most Americans know the healthcare system is absolutely fucked up. And most people know that like 40,000 Americans die every year without health insurance coverage. So like, why don't you focus on that stuff and stuff where you can actually make a difference? But he has this like delusion of grandeur that he's going to be our like savior around the world. And that might explain his complete focus on Africa. So I want to contrast this as well, because again, think about Elon Musk, think about Mark Zuckerberg, think about these people who had this image, the good guy, the people who gave to charity, the people who did charity work, the people who provided free internet to poor countries, the people who said they were going to solve world hunger or whatever. This is his idea for new videos. I have a pilot living in a $2.5 million private jet, and if he doesn't leave for 100 days, he keeps it. A cop criminal in a jail, and if they don't leave for 100 days, they win $500,000. And someone living in a gym until he loses £100 for $500,000. Can't wait to upload these. Are these video ideas the sign of someone who has a good moral compass? I'm gonna take people's need for money and desire to better their lives and do a human experiment that I've seemingly copied from like Black Mirror or something, and see how long it takes someone to lose £100, and I'll give them 500 grand if they do it for my YouTube video, which will make way more than that. This guy seems to have not learned any lessons of why people don't like him, and you can do all the charity work in the world. If you're still doing stuff like this, people are always going to doubt that you have any good intentions, because this is just like psycho shit. And someone replied, which he responded to, I get it's for content for the algorithm, but at what point do you just admit that you like forcing random people to live in small spaces? Like, at what point does this say something freaky about you? Beast replying, the person in the gym is the healthiest, happiest he's ever been, with a massive team who provided him to help achieve his goals, healthily and sustainability. And it's a big space. The pilot loves flying, and now he can fly anywhere he wants for free while becoming a millionaire. And the cop/criminal get to see the other's perspective and learn from the other side. all wanted to do the challenges and obviously can leave whenever. I don't force them to do anything. Person replying, regardless of the conditions, you can't exactly deny that a significant chunk of your videos are about keeping people in small spaces here. And this goes from this stunt to like the Beast games generally. You can say everything's consensual and legally that will have you covered. But again, he doesn't realize the savior of humanity who's going to use capitalism to save the world. He doesn't know that if you offer someone $500,000, they're going to do anything you say. When that whole scandal came out last year, that guy called Jake Weddle talked about being in solitary confinement. And obviously, yeah, he could leave whenever he wanted. But he talks about like his own upbringing and where he came from and like the amount of money being offered, just saying like, to him, it wasn't really feasible to leave because of all these conditions. Like, yeah, technically, he could have just walked out the door. And I'm sure all of these people can just walk out the door. But if someone is saying to you for, 100 days, spend it in a gym and I'll give you 500 grand, how many people are going to say yes? Especially in the context of America right now where so many people are struggling. How he actually doesn't see this being a problem. You're putting people in those situations for others' entertainment and for your profit. And we're meant to take you seriously when you say you want to change the world and make it a better place. Why do you have to do this? Like, loads of your videos don't involve stuff like this, but then randomly every so often it comes up. Like the person was saying, does it say something about you? Do you just like putting people in like small spaces and making them stay there for like months for money? Like, what the actual hell is wrong with this person? And I just hate we live in a world where all of this is normalized and YouTube don't have a problem with anything this guy does. And again, he's the guy who has the amount of resources where he claims like shut down tourism to the pyramids so he can run around them. Stuff people would absolutely dream of doing if they love this shit. He just does it randomly on like a whim for a video. So he can do all of that, but for some reason he still has to do these stupid stunts. Again, it pretty much tells you everything you need to know about this guy. It doesn't matter about the charity work and all the charity work that he is even less involved in than normal, because if you watch his charity channel now, he films his part of the video seemingly in America and he doesn't actually go to any of the countries anymore. That's done by his charity team, so he's even less involved. So when you see other tweets like this, dear ultra rich people on Twitter, I've been working on a video where we feed people in need globally, and if any of you wouldn't mind donating $1 million to help us feed more people, that'd mean the world to me, pretty please. And again, like, he's just a child. Like, if you're a child, you think that rich people can buy lots of food and feed people, that solves the problem. And I'm not telling Mr. Beast to like end global capitalism, but all of this is just completely self-serving, because if he doesn't know that this doesn't matter, like a bunch of rich people getting together and paying for loads of foods, yeah, it will help feed a group of people for a certain amount of time, but then the situation will go completely back to how it was, which made them hungry in the first place, which sadly, yes, a lot of the places that are starving right now are facing either climate catastrophe or their countries ravaged by Western colonial capitalism like sub-Saharan Africa, so they suffer at our expense. Despite the fact they grow a lot of our food in the first place, they suffer because we extract all their resources for ourselves. So what even is this? Dangle money in front of people to go to a gym for 100 days and lose 100 pounds, then ask a bunch of rich people to help you feed everyone? Like, we've seen this play out so many times as well. Like Live Aid, Make Poverty History, all these Western celebrity campaigns where they all pool their resources to help a poor country and feel good about it, and then we all just go back to normal, and that money doesn't usually make much of a difference anyway. And I've actually made a whole video about Mr. Beast's charity work in Africa, which I don't want to go over again. Like, go watch that video if you want to, but I want to talk about this. So he says, to help get kids out of child labor on cocoa farms in West Africa, we started giving away free breakfast at schools, and one school's attendance is already up 10% in the first week. I'm probably 2,000 to 3,000 hours into learning how I can get as many of the 1.5 million kids in child labor in West Africa and into schools. I've surrounded myself with the greatest minds, and I feel like I know more about child labor in Africa than I do YouTube now. Over these next 12 months, I hope to make a lot of progress and bring you all along for the journey. I fear if someone with my influence can't fix this, no one can. I'm dedicated to the mission. So obviously people are going to immediately say, Kavanagh, you're such a hater. He's trying to make children's lives better. And there is nothing wrong fundamentally with wanting to make children's lives better. And if he somehow pulled this off, I would commend him, obviously. If you actually helped these children and you did it through the right organizations, which I assume he's trying to do, and you saved loads of these children from working in child labor on cocoa farms, then like, hats off to you. I'm happy you did that, despite the fact I think you're a terrible person. The same way I can recognize Bill Gates has done some good things with medicine while still not being a good guy. At the same time, I fear if someone with my influence can't fix this, no one can. But again, this guy is so brainwashed by neoliberalism. Why do you think you're the answer? Why do you think the world has been waiting for one good guy savior? We've seen this play out a million times. Like, you're not going to save these children, really. Like, you might do a good job, you might make inroads and might save certain communities, but you're not going to save these children from child labor because you're not going to change fundamentally the capitalist system, and you're not working at all towards that goal. Because, Mr. Beast, if you are so influential, if you're so wealthy that you can solve this massive issue in West Africa, a giant part of the continent, why can't you change things in America, the country that designed and upholds this global capitalist system that often results in loads of children working in exploitative conditions for consumer products for the West, right? I don't want Mr. Beast to save us. I'm not asking for him to save us. But again, you have to think, if he actually wanted to make a difference in the world and you live in a country like America, why wouldn't you just pour all that money into educating people in America, showing them the realities of the political issues, and maybe like lobbying politicians? Like, we've seen how corrupt the system is. So if you want to take your vast wealth, resources, and everything, why don't you pressure US politicians to do what you want and make a difference? Or maybe even start local. Show everyone that North Carolina can be the place in America where children don't go hungry, where children have a great education, where everyone is looked after. You're so centered around this one region. Why don't you start there and show people you could make a difference if you change the way things are done? Why is it Africa? And it's Africa because if he actually wants to run for president, it is politically neutral generally, right? I am going to Africa to solve child labor. Most Americans are not going to have a problem with that because it's so far away. They don't understand how, their country contributes to things like this. And he does it, and it makes him look great. It's not out of any moral desire to help children. He literally hired a predator to run his company. He doesn't care about children being protected. It's all just PR and his image. And yes, maybe something good can come out of this. I'm perfectly willing to entertain the notion he could do something in certain West African communities, but the whole center on me, the individual, changing things as one person, and only I, with my sole drive and influence, can solve this issue of child labor in West Africa. It's just like such baby brain naive thinking. And I think all his resources, if he is so influential, can be put towards something better. But remember, this is the same guy who was calling up loads of rich people trying to get together to buy TikTok. And do we think all the people he was going to buy TikTok with were the, beacons of morality? Do we think all his business partners generally are the beacons of morality? We're going to get into this a bit more, because what I loved about the Beast games being on Amazon is like British millennials and older British people who work in media got to experience Mr. Beast for the first time. So seeing all the takedowns in the British media and like the terrible reviews of his show was so funny. But I think also, from the British perspective, we're a more classist society. And I said this in my video criticizing Hassan. Hassan doesn't exist in the UK. Personally, no one would take him seriously, but I think anyone who grows up in the UK knows like certain displays of wealth and celebrity while trying to advocate for like political positions on the left is just really unrelatable and not a great strategy in the UK. I guess you can make the argument it is a good strategy in the US, which is more focused on celebrity, wealth, and all this other shit, but it just doesn't exist here. So that's why it was funny to see generally people look at this Mr. Beast and be like, what a freak this guy is, and just how gross even the show is. So like I already touched on, game shows fundamentally over their entire history have exploited people's desire to better their lives. When you're offering them such vast sums of money, especially shows that center on very average normal people, they're obviously going to go to great lengths to win that money. And I wouldn't say The Traitors is a great example in the UK and now the US and whatever, because the money on offer, it isn't enough, I don't think. Because it's £100,000 in the UK. That is a lot of money. In the current economy, I wouldn't say for a lot of people that would even be a life-changing amount of money. It'd certainly give you a leg up and maybe put you on the path to like owning your own home and stuff, but it's not going to like buy you a home outright in most of the country. It's not going to make you like financially secure for the rest of your life. But even in that show, you can see like how people act in this situation, how it gets very personal. And imagine if the person who won The Traitors won $2 million or $5 million or £5 million, it would definitely get a lot more toxic because people would be desperate for an amount of money that would fundamentally completely change their lives. And in America, you often have these game shows that do offer a lot more. You see, even in the people trying to join the Beast Games lineup, a lot of these people had no money, and they're just so desperate to be a part of this to potentially win. And that's what he's exploiting, like he is when he does those stupid stunts like locking someone in a gym for 3 months. The Guardian wrote an article about Beast Games, and I just want to read some of it. So advocating for single-payer healthcare doesn't generate the kind of 40 million view content that Mr. Beast needs to fuel his video empire and growth from demi-billionaire to full free commerce status. and supporting it would require him to acknowledge that the real reason for the ruinous state of American healthcare is the massive resistance from corporations that employ armies of lobbyists to preserve the status quo. Professional influence peddlers like former Republican state senator Tom Apodaca, who left his position as co-chair of the North Carolina Senate's Committee on Insurance in 2015 to launch a lucrative lobbying practice that represents the likes of Blue Cross Blue Shield, Optima Health, and Mr. Beast YouTube LLC. So yeah, getting in bed with a Republican lobbyist probably doesn't make me think you really want to change the world or the status quo, or even want to tackle the heart of the issues in America generally, because you're not doing that, and you're okay with all these super rich people and think just you guys can solve all our problems. The fact that Beast employs a right-wing lobbyist is hardly surprising, and one of the cringier aspects of the Beast games is its constant and blatant spotlighting of its sponsors, which include not just T-Mobile, but the online finance platform Moneyline. The latter offers AI-generated financial advice and high-interest Instacash advances, and has partnered with Donaldson for a Beast Games-themed sweepstakes that promises to bring the show's cash grab opportunities to users at home. Every episode of the show includes multiple instances of Jimmy Beast turning to the camera and promoting a QR code to download the app and participate in the $4.2 million Moneyline giveaway. Curiously, right as Beast Games was about to drop, Moneyline announced it was being acquired for $1 billion by Gen Digital, formerly known as Symantec, which owns identity theft prevention programs such as LifeLock and Norton Antivirus. This acquisition will allow Gen Digital to identify and super target the most vulnerable users on the internet with Moneyline payday loan offers. Its omnipresent branding on Beast Games will only help payday lenders focus their marketing efforts on groups facing dire economic precarity, those with less than a college degree and those earning less than $40,000 a year, and increasingly young people between 18 and 24, a profile that maps out perfectly to Mr. Beast Gen Z fan legions. Sum it up, Jimmy Beast lured a vast horde of individuals into his orbit with an ecosystem rampant with hypocrisy, where wealth is fetishized, altruism is corporatized, and faith is co-opted. He's accused of subjecting them to hazardous environmental conditions, providing them with insufficient healthcare and dangerous food and drug administration, and putting a team of partisan, unqualified bullies and sex pests in to supervise them. And other than a handful of resistors, they adore him for it, demanding that he keep the game going for future seasons and allow them, his devoted worshippers, to return it for more. So yeah, the Beast Games being like nothing more than a corporate marketing stunt based on maybe like a kind of spin-off from Squid Games, and his Squid Game video just says it all about like Mr. Beast. Like, why is he doing this? He claims that he lost money on this, right? That's bullshit. He always claims he loses money on his videos. If you lose money on everything you do, how are you worth like $500 million? And how do you make like $80 million a year? It's total bullshit, and it's total marketing of, oh my God, I do all this to bring attention to my charity and I lose money doing it. I am so selfless. That is so fucking stupid. And what was really vindicating about all the controversy around him last year is I've been saying that for a long time, and so many people who knew him personally said, yeah, he is obsessed with money. He has like a private chef. He lives in a very lavish home. He cares about all of his shit so much. And of course he does. Someone from just like an average background, making it big at 19, doing stunts like giving money to homeless people. Do you think he's going to be the bastion of morality, who's living like a Buddhist monk on a mountain and having like no possessions and doing like just charity work all the time? Of course he doesn't. And what I'm trying to show people is, please don't fall for the rebrand. Like, people hate him, and I don't think people understand why they hated him last year. They mainly hated him for the drama reasons. They hated him because every single fucking slop tuber posted videos saying, oh my God, this is bad, Mr. Beast employed this person. But all of these people before were always defending Mr. Beast from criticism of people like me. I made that whole video called the Mr. Beast Defense Squad, where every time people would criticize Mr. Beast, and it used to be only a few of us, they would come out to be like, well, he's a good guy, he does charity work. And how are we just so fucking stupid? I guess it's like Americans dominating the internet, where they view this thing like the height of morality to do charity work, that you can forget everything bad someone has done because they do charity, and you can unquestionably accept their charity work as virtuous, because charity work is always inherently good. Not that all these people who've been terrible, like the Zuckerbergs, have previously done charity work. And now look at them. That is Mr. Beast in 20 years. That's Mr. Beast in 15 years. When Mr. Beast is part of this oligarchy as well, no one's going to be going around talking about, oh, we did charity work in West Africa. He's not going to solve child labor in West Africa. If he wanted to make a difference, he'd start where he lives, and he'd show us all what you can do as an individual in this system in America if you really wanted to. But again, he doesn't want to. He has Republican lobbyists. He cozies up to the ultra wealthy who perpetuate the system of misery that does result on child laborers working on cocoa farms for Western consumption. I'd even give him credit if he pushed some sort of political ideology while doing this and showing how American consumption causes things like this, but he's not going to do that. So what you're going to get is just charity adult film content for you and poverty adult film content, and you're going to consume it and convince yourself he's a good guy. And it's mainly designed for children without critical thinking skills who are going to grow up thinking Mr. Beast is the most amazing charitable guy ever, and maybe one day he runs for president and he gets your vote through those means. I really hope he doesn't become president, but at the same time, America is sliding into fascist oligarchy, and good guy Mr. Beast has nothing to say as Elon Musk, his hero, and Doge just slash all social safety nets, which will result in children working more, because we've seen Republicans roll back those protections against child labor as well. So Beastie Boy, focus on America and show us all the difference you can make at home in the heart of the empire that causes things like child labor for mass consumed goods and stuff. That is it for the video. President of the I Hate Mr. Beast club is back. Very evil. Let me know what you guys think, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching.
I just haven't been working out, dude. You know?
Yeah. Oh, this is a good start, because we'll be working out way more than this. Way more in the cold than you can in hot stuff. So your athletic performance increases by a lot.
I don't think I'm really athletic right now.
Yeah, at least you sent it, man. That's the freaking thing. I honestly run up that stuff barefoot all the time.
I know. It's taken me a long time to cover the Gropeback Mountain, Blade, and the Wilderness saga that happened. But we've got to understand something here, right? These series of streams basically took place right before Christmas, and Blade has been on a tear of just bouncing around different locations. It's like, I'm not an only Use Me Blade exclusive channel, but it feels like you almost have to be in order to keep up with him bouncing around everywhere. You know, you're getting different universes of Blade, and it's like, I'm only one man, I can only cover so much. This stream alone does not cover everything that happened on the mountain. It covered some of the big moments, some of the most interesting moments, and what ultimately led to Blade leaving. Spoiler alert. But I couldn't cover absolutely everything that was talked about here. This video alone was 10 hours. 10 hours of stream content that I went through, dissected, took out my microscope and was examining every little inch, every little detail of the Blade verse. And we of course have to start out. Blade is staying inside of a trailer on top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. This opening clip is him being completely wasted and being so physically incapable of walking, I don't know, 500 feet, 1,000 feet up a hill to get to said trailer. And so it's a mess of epic proportions that we should be ready for. And without further ado, I present to you Gropeback Mountain featuring Only Use Me Blade and a mystery figure named Orange.
That's fucking amazing. You're like, okay, if we're gonna do this, okay, cool. Just fucking figure it out. I'm gonna do the same shit tomorrow, dude. The same shit tomorrow. I don't give a fuck. Dude, the whole time I was in this shit, I was like, alright, we're doing this again tomorrow, because this shit's fire. Like, this shit hits you there and there and there and go there. Okay, cool. And like, do you think we should go there again? I'm like, goddamn right, we go there.
I know I sort of hit you with a sensory overload with Blade. That's what I typically do. I tend to avoid a lot of his pre-intoxicated content because it's just donations coming in and him saying, yeah, I still like Becky. No, Fultz is cool. No, Scary Terry still likes me. It's basically that for an hour and a half until he gets wasted. And so I tend to skip over some of those parts and I jump right into the craziness. We're basically inside of the house from the Blair Witch Project, and we've got weird, sculpted pieces hanging in the background on the walls. There's a huge shadow. There's no interior lighting inside of the shack. There's only like lamps that they carry around. There's also no insulation or drywall inside this place. They just have a central furnace heating everything. And I understand there's going to be people out there saying, oh my God, he's in the woods. Why do you need all these amenities? People back in 1465, they were living exactly like this, you stupid piece of shit. Why don't you figure it out? And I'm over here just saying, we're in the 21st century, buddy. We can upgrade our houses, right? We don't have to live in darkness inside some metal shack on top of some hill in the middle of nowhere with a man who's slowly going insane through alcohol. And he's pulling off that Arthur Fleck Joker laugh pretty well there. Ha 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 ha. Where it's just like, oh man, we're gonna have to get him one of those cards to hand out to local people saying, sorry, I'm mentally regarded. Please disregard my Ayo, Monday say Ayo, and they can move on from it. I think somebody needs to get that laminated card, keep it in his pocket, preferably not his pants pocket because he's gonna piss all over it. But, either way, we gotta figure out a way that Blake can interact with normal society again.
Dude, my only rule is no smoke a cigarette in my house. That's literally the only rule.
Okay, dude. Cool person.
Break the rule right now. No,
I'm not breaking the rule right now, dude. Why would I break the rules since I came in here, dude? Why would I be a wolf and just take a shit in your mouth, person? I would never do that.
I would never let a wolf shit in my mouth. I would never drink that water.
I think it was thinking, why?
That water is best used for washing dishes. That water is highly acidic. That water is very bad for you.
That's not fucking wash dishwater. That's purified water. It's fine.
That tap water that you bought at that store is very, very bad for you.
Neat. If you tell everyone,
if you die before me, I'm gonna stand over your casket and I'll be like, dude, I fucking told you. Told you all cause mortality. You should have stayed in the cold. You should not eat that. I'm gonna be so mad at you.
I guess you did. Sure, I did. Come slide, huh? I'm gonna drown. Figure it out.
Blade being the courteous guest as he ever is, he's willing to follow the house rules. That includes don't piss on the furniture, don't smoke inside, don't say the N-word. It's a pretty short list, yet you guys can guess. You think Blade's gonna follow those rules? He's typically a really good boy, a really, really good boy. After all, he claims that everybody likes him so much. He has so many friends, so many people support him, so many people have his back. I mean, hell, look, he's living with basically the FBI's most wanted 1990s character in the middle of nowhere. Nobody can hear him scream, nobody can hear him cry, and nobody's even gonna find where he went. That's the beauty of all of Blade's friends. Is he's got a character for every situation. I bet you weren't sitting there thinking, yeah, you know what? I think Blade's gonna show up at the top of a mountain, just completely hammered inside some soulless, dilapidated shack with some sketchy wilderness man. Yeah, that wasn't on my bingo card for 2023, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, there's tons of mountain lions.
What is the move if like a mountain lion tries to fuck with me?
Don't
don't act like prey.
Okay.
Stand up against it, like stand as tall as you can and scare it away.
Okay.
If it's not afraid of you,
There's no mountain lions out here though, right?
Oh no, there's a lot of mountain lions right here.
Oh. Okay.
I've been at like not too many months ago. I filmed a couple mountain lions right on my road down there.
Nice. Mountain lions, if you're watching, I got no problem with you.
So. Yeah, you want to be cool with the mountain lions. They attack from the back and shit. They get you when you're not looking.
Okay.
They're scary people. He follows me around and stuff. Walk on the door and hustle me and shit. Yeah, he very much doesn't like other people. He used to have way more cats too, but they got eaten by stuff.
Holy shit, that's funny. That is fucking funny.
Hell yeah. I was literally laughing
I know.
Anonymous donated $4. Blade, this guy is a ticking time, love. He's going to get pissed off again and cave your forehead in with a framing hammer. Be careful, Blade, there's plenty of land out there for you to disappear in.
Okay, dude.
Keep one eye open at all times.
Waking up anybody and being a drunk mess. First off, most people have to have a couple shots in them just to deal with me as a drunk mess. But to be in a slumber and then wake up, okay, give me a second to wake up. Because when I wake up, it takes me a minute to get up.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I hate waking up and having to do something immediately.
Oh, yeah.
So I get it.
There's a lot of foreshadowing in these clips, especially that donation. I don't want to give away the surprise at the very end, but Orange is a certifiably insane person. I think that's not too far of a stretch to make, especially there's no down-to-earth family man who is going to take Blade in. It's sort of like if you've ever watched Breaking Bad, when Jesse gets kicked out of his aunt's house, he's trying to find a place to bum a bed off of or a couch to sleep on. He goes to his old buddy's house. He's married, has a kid and a wife, and they kick him out immediately. That's the vibe that we're not going to see from any of Blade's friends. Just doesn't exist. And, you know, Orange is going to throw out some tidbits of knowledge out there a couple times throughout these streams. And the Mountain Lion one is pretty funny because Blade is essentially going to be inside a shack all by himself, completely wasted, incapable of defending himself. So if a mountain lion was smart enough, it would just jump right through the window. It would claw through the roof and go and eat our bad boy. I mean, he's full of fat. It's getting cold up there at night, I'm sure. I mean, they could basically savor up all that deliciousness and go back and probably don't have to eat for another 4 to 6 years. I mean, that just seems like a sweet deal for them. If Blade ever ends up back there, let's leave bait around the entire house. I know he's bait enough, but we can figure it out.
Shot. Guys, I will come back to this. I need to cook that. This looks hella poverty, but it's bomb. It's gonna be good.
Slightly different.
Yeah.
Because I can only do some of this food for so long with my skin.
Oh,
and
okay.
I gotta go back to like shit, like kind of stricter diet stuff.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean you won't, still cook up all this stuff and do whatever.
Nice. I keep on forgetting we should cook up those fucking biscuits.
Do them if you want.
But I don't think biscuits necessarily go with that. That's gluttonous. To like cook up a pizza and then cook up biscuits.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know if that really goes together. Okay. Oh, the pizza. I forgot about it.
No, we're good.
We're good?
When it comes to cooking stuff, I like to cook stuff, so I pay attention. I know.
All right.
I know not to let it burn, and I don't want to ruin my meal.
I feel like this should not be quiet me cutting.
Be quiet, you cutting?
Like it's all quiet and shit. You just listen to me fucking cut.
You're like concentrating on meat cutting?
Woo! Sizzling! Oh my goodness.
Sizzling, yeah.
Woo! Shit.
It's warm, man.
explain to me how Blade is capable of eating stuff. I've been pondering this issue for a while because he always takes his dentures out before he eats and he's just gumming it. I know he probably has some capable teeth on the bottom row, but is that enough to really just destroy food? I feel like eating, you know, pizza that is obviously a little bit burnt out of the furnace that they have, that this might be an issue for him to chew through, and it's probably just chomp, chomp, swallow, chomp, chomp, swallow. You know, we're not actually breaking down any of the food that's going inside your mouth. But hey, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge. Of course, that's certainly not what I do on this channel. I'm a advice. I'm a support channel. I'm here to kick you into shape, buddy. You know, we're gonna figure it out together. And it's funny because Orange probably lives this like odd lifestyle where he probably only lives off of like spinach and like elk meat. Some elk unfortunately stumbled across his path and he fought it with his bare hands, and that's what he's been living off of for the past 3 months. And Blade shows up, and Blade brings ingredients to make pizza and biscuits and sausage. And it's like, hell yeah, brother, I can't be eating this though. Can't be eating this. You're gonna make me turn into a fatso pathetic loser like you, and I can't be having that out here. Otherwise, I am now the biggest bait in the area, not you, and we can't be having that.
Listen, I'm looking at the bottle, dude. That's where we're at. That's all the Jaegers. So, from this moment forward, if you don't need for more shots, don't.
Yeah, that's it. Basically, that's 6 shots.
That's basically it.
Hey Blade, congrats on the growing viewership. But quick question.
Yeah.
Do you miss Beck? Do you miss Beck? Do you miss Beck? Do you miss Beck?
Yeah, you're gone. The air tap's gone, dudes. I told you guys. This is gonna be fun. Yeah.
I don't know.
Hi, I'm streaming.
Yeah, you keep talking your shit. You told me that Willie was a weirdo. You met him when he was drunk. You were the biggest weirdo fucking creep when you're drunk. So don't talk your shit. At least he remembers who his fucking queen was when you split.
Neat. Well, if you guys are here, apparently I'm the worst person of all time. I don't know, dude. That's weird, dude. Apparently I'm the worst person of all time, dude. Would you be mad at me like that? I don't know why people are mad at me like that, dude. Be awesome, person. Sweet potato pie. Za.
You thought we were going to get away without a Blade pissing part of this video, didn't you? It's a tradition on the Saturated Content channel. We're going to keep it going because Blade just can't help himself. He can't put on his adult diaper. He can't keep it to himself. He's got to stream it. We're not going to leave the stream inside while this goes on. Of course not. And he's also incapable of processing exactly what his actions are throughout his streams. He's talking mad shit about Beck, and then Beck calls to call him out on it, and he's like, why would you even be mad at me for that? What did I ever do to you? I'm such an innocent bystander. Oh, Blady Poo. Blady Poo, come on, buddy. Own up to your actions a little bit. I know you're in love with Becky, but we gotta, you've been white knighting for a while. She doesn't like you that much, it seems. It's getting a little bit cringe over here, bro.
Sir, I'm packing up. Packing up, dude.
You already have my nighttime nose strip on, man. Not wear that shit during the day, too, sometimes. People always ask me, though, like, if something happened to me when I wear it around town. Like, what happened? I'm like, oh, it's just a nasal breathing strip. Like, I didn't get in a fight or nothing, Jesus.
What happens a couple of happens. It doesn't even matter. Walking's good for you. You don't even understand.
I'm just super lit, dude. But I'll do it. Let's go. The litness doesn't matter? I'm just drinking some water real quick.
All right. You can continue.
Thank you.
My pace will, you know. We're almost to where my water tank is, which is like 600 feet from my house.
No.
Yeah, we're getting there though. Yeah, you're good. I'm walking backwards in the dark for you guys, chat. Oh, you dropped something. Hold on. Let me get it for you. I'll bring it back to you. It's a lanyard of something. All right. Back in action.
Dude, my legs are on fire. Oh, shit. Okay. Sorry, dude.
You got it. You got it. There now. You're about halfway.
But it's like downhill from here, right?
No, the rest of it's still uphill, but it's less uphill.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
You got this. You know, Blade keeps his shoes nice. Watch out for there. Getting low. That was a spot that you could have fell in. Yeah, we've been on one.
Dude, that was really good.
We're close. The trailer. Yeah. See that? They can see the trailer. Chat can see the trailer. Can you see it? Can you see it reflecting right there?
I'm just really fucking lit, dude. I'm sorry. On fire, dude. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Are we close?
Pretty close.
Fuck it. Dude, I'm so exhausted.
You got this.
How much further, dude?
You're close.
Oh, that's right there. That's amazing. Whew. Yeah.
As I mentioned in the beginning, he basically walks 1,000 feet. 1,000 feet, yes, it's on an incline. Yes, you're at a higher altitude. But the fact that all you do all day is sit and drink and eat, and you don't do any physical exertion, and you're so exhausted, just walking any amount of distance is ridiculous to me. It is so bizarre. It's like something I can't even comprehend, because even when I've been really fat and I've gone on vacations places where we go hiking in the mountains or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I move pretty slow, yeah, I'm pretty tired, but like I can get to the end. I can get to the end. I have to stop every once in a while, but it's not like this is my first time walking around during the day. And once we're 10 feet into the trip, I'm like, I gotta check out this one, buddy. Sorry. Do you see me? I'm carrying water and a box of random electronics. It's too much equipment. I'm too tired. It's just too much work. And we were one Spartan kick down the side of a mountain away from this being one of the funniest and like possessed clips I've ever seen on the internet. It feels like we're in like a horror film. It feels like this is Creep 3. And I'm like, oh man, he's just luring him into his lair. And who knows what's going to happen after that.
But yeah, I've noticed that out here, there's really cool temperature changes on the shadow side of stuff in the winter.
That's crazy looking, dude. This really is beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's someone doing a control burn down there. Super beautiful. You can kind of just like see how everything formed, you know?
Right.
It's trippy. I think a lot of this looks all melted kind of like that because tons of glaciers sat on it and were slowly, melting water over the top of it and putting pressure on it.
Yeah.
So if you look around, everything looks like it was melted and just like melted down, top down, like everything, even the highest peaks. Like, see that?
Mm-hmm.
They just look melted. In the bag.
Do I need to throw straighter, not as much of an arc, or?
Yeah, you could like step into it and like throw it more like a baseball if you want. You know, like you don't have to worry about like
throwing it too hard or missing. You'll just miss it, you know. Yeah, there you go. That was better.
This is eerily similar to the plot of Creep 1 and 2, where it's essentially you're playing with the killer's weapon, and we'll see a little bit later. Orange has an arsenal of sharp objects up there, and you know it's probably not smart to let Blade be playing with them, especially you know this target is set up like near the edge of the hillside, and it's just like he's just gonna chuck this bad boy off the edge of the cliff. He's also throwing it like a little girl a little bit, you know, not a lot of gusto behind those throws, but I can't judge. It is awfully beautiful out there. That is 100% true. You can't deny that. Blade chose a good location to go to. I don't know why this wasn't his first stop. I don't know why staying at Scary Terry's to piss all over his bed and scream the N-word and get evicted was his initial thought process. But hey, we can't question the maestro, all right? We've got a genius at play here.
All right, chat. No, that water's for drinking.
Have nothing to hide. Exactly.
I doubt there's actually Scary Terry donating. But he shall not be named then. His wishes, so we're good. I kind of want to do another shot.
I bet it was all good.
Hella good. Man, what do you think, man? I kind of want to do a single shot.
Well, go for it.
That was fine. Then he started doxing people. And like, I do appreciate donations. Don't get me wrong. I can't live off without donations. I get that, but that doesn't mean you get to fucking write the story of my life. So that's it. Hey, Monday sales. We can figure it out there. There's a bottle of Jaeger. We got Jaeger. We got water, and we got Newports.
This stream is going to take a very fast derailment. I haven't seen a likeness of it this quickly in a while. This stream is basically 4 hours long, and it takes him about 30 minutes to start getting a little topsy-turvy side, and he just absolutely crashes and burns like you've never seen before. But he's here to celebrate with you guys, you know? He lives off the donations. He wants to make sure that he can have it on a shot because our boys earned it. I mean, he's a hard worker. He's giving us entertainment. He's giving me a chance to talk about him. I mean, we should be grateful for Blade in 2024.
Or give me stuff if I'm going up and down. Because I never mind going up and down. It's just fun for me.
Well, you know what, man?
What?
I'm lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the chat's like, oh, Blade's the fucking...
Dude, your sheets came off. Keep going, though. I gotta fix your sheets.
I'm not sitting there anymore.
Oh, why? Did you yiss it?
No, I didn't yiss it. I did not.
It's pretty wet.
It's not wet.
That's pretty soaked.
It's not wet.
It's definitely wet. I mean, you can't deny it's not wet. That makes it extra seem like you pissed it. You could have said, I spilled water on it.
I didn't, but I didn't. No, I didn't,
No, you don't have to. I'm not mad that you peed it. You definitely peed it.
I didn't pee it.
I mean, it's super soaked.
It's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
I'll show chat.
Come here.
Chat, no, you're sitting on that, and then you're sitting on some of the soak that I was just feeling. No, you're sitting on it. Don't be like a kid about it.
Dude, okay, I peed many in beds, dude, but your bed's not.
He's sitting on the pee part. You can see how it's actually really pissed right here and super soaked.
Smell it.
And then it almost feels like it's fucking broke through. But that would just be, who knows.
Dude, I did not pee your bed. You literally made me hike up a mountain.
You did. It's super wet. People can see the stain. And there's probably the wetness on.
It's not wet, dude.
It is.
Bro, I pee lots of beds.
Dude, it's wet. You can feel it. It's nasty and it's wet. And it caved in. How crazy was those storms, right?
Yeah, but like you're
wet when you first got into it?
No.
Just okay, well, I was just say you could have claimed that. I don't know, man. It was weird, but I don't blame you. I don't even care, dude. I swear to God, I don't even care.
Don't be like worried about it or like.
No, I am worried about. No, I
literally don't care, man.
I'm saying I'm worried about it, dude, because you're having me in your home.
Brian's wet pee-pee blanket donated.
I did not pee though, and I peed in so many places.
Brian, I'm
Blade get this uncomfortable and this pathetic in an instance that he gets called out. He's like a dog that, you know, accidentally, or maybe not even accidentally, but got into some of the food, ate some of the food, and you come home and you're pissed because he ate your KFC 12-piece bucket bowl or whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm not a KFC connoisseur. I apologize. And you scold the dog, and the dog looks all sad and scared, and it's like, ooh, you're being mean to me. That's Blade right now. He's like, no, man, I can't be kicked out of here too. Where else am I gonna go? My mom doesn't like me either. I gotta find a different solution. He ends up at Sheepdogs, by the way, in case you're curious. That's where he ends up. I haven't even checked in like a week, so he might have already moved on from there, but he was pissing the couch there too. So it's a whole disaster. And if you just own up to it, it could even be, it's hard to tell if there's like, it doesn't look super soaked, so it could have just been like he spilled water or, you know, a drink or something in there when he was asleep, drunk, passed out, and that'd be fine. It'd be all cool. But if you pissed yourself, just admit that you pissed yourself, Brian. It's okay. This is a support group here.
Can I calm down? Can I calm down?
Oh.
What's wrong, dude?
Oh.
What's wrong, dude?
Deep party foul. Whew. We gotta, you know what you gotta do? Nope. You gotta walk to the top and back. Party foul.
Why am I doing all that?
No, that's what we do out here. Put the milk down for a second. You gotta get up there. One top lap. Let's go.
As we were, dude.
Let's go.
As we were, dude.
Let's go.
Okay, bye.
One top lap. Party foul. Party foul. Get up here. Oh, yeah.
That's not what the dudes did.
Backwards hug.
No, I know how to fucking backwards tug you did.
No, backwards hug. Put your arms back. No, put your arms back here. Give me your arms. Where's your arms at?
They're right here, dude.
No, bring them back here. Bring your arms back here. No, here. Give me one of them. I'll show you. You gotta complete.
You're really mean to me, dude. You're really mean to me, dude. You're really mean to me, dude.
You just go like this, you know?
Where am I, dude? Calm down, dude.
And this is the first point that I feel like I start to get this inclination. It's like this is sort of